if you don't get surgery immediately on these issues, you're going to be at least paralyzed or could die from your spinal cord snapping. Hi, my name is Joe Ellis, and this is my story. I was just completely lost out there, didn't know what I was doing. I'd grown up in the church, but it was just church. It was this thing I checked off. It was totally random, but there was these two Americans that had been in Korea, now meeting in the Netherlands. And I met him, and we just talked one night. It's about 2, 3 in the morning, it felt like, and he just asked what I was doing with my life. And I had no idea what to say. I had no idea what I was doing with my life. And he started talking to me about Christ, and just by a blessing, I knew instantly that that was what was missing out of my life. That was the hole that made me incomplete, was God. I was missing God. When my wife and I were working for a children's home in Indiana, they asked me to try out all the different workout equipment that had been donated to them because no one on campus knew how to use them, to make sure that they were safe. And so I went through, I used a number of the different equipment that they had there, and then I got to the bench press, and the actual bench part of the press had been glued on instead of properly screwed together. And when I tried it out, it snapped, and I did a barrel roll, and I kind of tweaked my back, and my back just would not get better afterwards. So we decided to go to the doctors. They did a x-ray to see what was going on in there, and the doctor immediately said, you know, this looks way more damaged than just from what you have done. Something's not right in here. Let's do an MRI. And so we did the MRI, and they came back and they said, we don't even know how you're walking right now, how that accident didn't at least paralyze you or even kill you from that accident. After going to the doctors for a little bit, a couple months, and getting a barrage of tests, it turns out that I have always had acute hypothyroidism, which affected my body, and I get sick a lot, and it would also affect all the nutrients that my body was getting. I wasn't getting enough to most of my bones, especially my back, which caused it to be more brittle than the average person's. And I also was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease, which basically your discs degenerate at a faster rate. And me being a coach, a sports player, lifting weights, etc., exacerbated the situation, and it caused my back to deteriorate faster than the average person's. Over the last 5 years of having this, I've had 13 corrective surgeries on my back, and I've had about 40 procedures. Physically, it's been really hard for me. I was so used to being a coach, being outside all the time. I love to go hiking, walking with my wife, and lifting weights. And now, I can't lift anything heavier than 5 pounds. I can't walk at all, so being able to go out, I have to be in a wheelchair. Just planning to go to the restroom, I have to make sure that somebody's there to help me. Something as easy as getting a glass of water, Kleenex, anything like that I'm unable to do without help. The devil definitely tried to attack me in these things and make me feel like I was worthless in everything that I did. And for a long time, I was angry at God. How could you let this happen to me? How could you do this to me, God? I've had to remember that no matter what, God's there for me. He's done amazing things through me. And just to stay positive, knowing that no matter what I'm doing at that time, God is there for me. Funny story, I was coming out of a surgery, and I wish I could tell you I remember this, but this is my wife told me, there was a nurse that came in, and I just randomly apparently asked to pray for her, and she broke down crying because her mom was in the middle of heart surgery at that moment, and she didn't know how she was going to be, and God used me in that moment. And so the most important lesson out of all that I've learned is, don't ever think that you can't be useful to God. God will always find a use for you. No matter what you can or can't do physically, just make sure that you're able to be a tool for God, and God will use you in amazing ways, and you will see the fruit of his labors, and it's just amazing what God can do. Right now, I had a big surgery in August, second biggest at Ohio State, and we're kind of waiting to see how that turns out. It takes about 2 years to heal, but they're trying to figure out, I have narrowing in my vertebrae, which is causing my spinal fluid to build up. They may have to put a shunt in for that, and I'll have a lot of corrective surgeries over the years as my spine continues to deteriorate. Encouragement I would give to anyone going through any hard times is never give up. Always trust in God. He will never disappoint you. Even through our hardest times, it was evident that God was there for us, and that his love is sufficient for us to get through anything. And just don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to give it all to God, because he will be there for you, and he will listen, and he will take care of you.